Zion go ministries way. Hey, Zion go ministries way.
Hello, Zion Global Village. Thank you for tuning in today and sharing in this Bible study. I pray that all is well with you and your family. Today, we want to continue on with our study from the book of Ruth. I didn't want to just leave it hanging out there. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've gotten together, but I want to finish this and finish it in a state of excellence. It'll probably take us a couple more weeks, but we're going to get it done. Today, I want to introduce you to a word that maybe you've never heard of. It's leveret. Leveret. The root of that word means husband's brother. Do you know that there's something called a leveret law? Yeah. Deuteronomy 25 and 5, 25 and 5 of Deuteronomy speaks of this law, and I'm paraphrasing. It goes something like this: that when a married man dies, his brother is to take on his widow as a wife. And then the children that are born to that union are counted to the previous husband. And this applies to, again, brothers who live in the same house. Now, there's something there that gives the surviving brother the right to refuse this situation. And so when we apply that particular law to the book of Ruth, we can appreciate Boaz in a greater way. In that, a kinsman should have married Ruth according to the Levirate law. You see, Boaz was not obligated. He didn't have to come through on the Levirate law, but he was inspired by something else. He was inspired by a greater law, the law of love. He obviously fell deeply in love with Ruth and proved his friendship by taking her in and providing for her, and also making her his faithful wife. This foreign girl he brings into the household of Israel. Looking at that, we celebrate God for his awesome love. See what God has done. Out of his love for us, he sends his son, Jesus Christ, who proves his friendship by doing whatever was necessary so that we could be redeemed. Jesus basically shows us another level of love, the law of grace through love. Boaz's name means in him is strength. In him is strength. He demonstrated great strength by providing for Naomi and Ruth. Actually, he restored their inheritance and their possessions. Jesus proves his strength every day in that he gives grace to those who would receive it. I'm excited when I think about the fact that all over the world, there are people who are receiving his grace and things are being restored unto them, things that the enemy took away. Their joy, their dignity, their ability to love, their sense of self-esteem. God is a great restorer. So Boaz name again means in him is strength. Boaz also characterizes grace. Ruth desired, she needed grace. Hear what she says in Ruth 2:2. And this is the B part of that particular verse. She says to Naomi, "Let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace." Now, what's incredible about that is that she didn't actually have to go out herself and find grace. God, in his providential care, led her. Yeah, he led her to this field where she would be in the eyesight of Boaz, who would take care of her. That wasn't coincidental. Again, God led her there. And look at the grace. Look at the characteristics of grace from Boaz. I think it's pretty fascinating, and we can learn from this. This is something for us to apply today in 2021. Listen to verse 4. "And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers," that is his workers, "The Lord be with you." And they answered, "The Lord bless you, Boaz." Let me rewind that just a moment. He goes out into the field. Mind you, he's the owner. He could have gone out very aloof. He could have gone out just looking at his workers, never saying anything. No. He says to them, "The Lord be with you." You get it? There wasn't in that field an environment of hostility. There was no intimidation. There is no humiliation. There are no threats and condemnation there. He's lifting everybody up. He acknowledges them. He inquires about them. He blesses them. For those of you who are employers, you have employees, or those of you who are managers or supervisors of some kind, pay attention to this. The work world will be so much better. Our lives will be so much better if we just adopted these principles. Doesn't it feel good? Let me ask you this. Doesn't it feel good when you go to a restaurant and there's somebody behind the counter, or you go to a shopping center or store and there's somebody behind the counter or working in that place that acknowledges you as a human being, that inquires about you, how you doing? And then it really blesses you if you get a Christ-like individual who will say, upon your dealing business with them, "God bless you." It makes you feel good. That's what Boaz did with his reapers. He made them feel valuable and worthy. What I love about him is that he takes grace from being this mere theoretical term to actually putting a heart to grace. We throw around grace, God's unmerited favor, to show off how much we know, and we end right there. So you never get a chance to see it as this powerful, redemptive love of God, this love that is in a place of authority, that stoops down and is able to comfort and help somebody. That's what Boaz did, and that's what we need to do. So Ruth experiences this grace, this awesome grace from Boaz. And she goes back and she tells Naomi about it. And Naomi's response is this in verse 20 of chapter 2. And Naomi said unto her daughter, Blessed be he of the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin to us. That word kin is quarab, which means relative. I talked about that a couple weeks ago. He's a relative to us, one of our next kinsmen, which is Goel. There's a difference between those two, one who is a relative and then the Goel, one who has the right to redeem. Let me put it to you in modern context. So you got some relatives, for sure, who will say they're with you. And they come around when you are doing well. But when you get down, they're nowhere to be found. And the sad part about it, if I can be really truthful, is they might even talk about you. But you got some kinsmen who are not just near relatives, but you know what? They have the means, they have the resources to help you out. And praise be unto God. They'll take those resources and they'll come to your aid and they'll stand with you all the way to the end. That's Boaz. And Jesus, again, is our heavenly Boaz. He not only took on a human body to relate to us, but he had the ability, you see, to redeem us. And he showed this by his sinless life of being the pure and spotless Lamb who was willing to go to the cross, who was willing to die for you and I so that we could have everything that we need. And you know what? He didn't have to. He could have refused. He was not obligated to. I'm thinking the first time he was challenged by Satan at the beginning of his ministry, he could have forgotten about you and I then. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he could have said, no, I'm not going through with this. And on the cross, he could have called 12 legions of angels. But Jesus, our kinsman redeemer, went all the way for us. See that, bask in his grace, bask in his love. And in turn, you go out today and the rest of the week and be graceful to somebody. Help somebody in need. Shalom.
The sun